Raise your hand if you think there are a lot of bad drivers on the road. Yep, I see a lot of hands, maybe every single one. Now, raise your hand if you think that you are a good driver. Still see a lot of hands in the air. Allstate Insurance did a survey, and they asked people to rate their driving skills and the driving skills of other drivers. The survey revealed that 2/3 rated themselves as excellent or very good drivers, but they rated the other people as being poor drivers. In the same survey, 89% of us admit to driving faster than the posted speed limit, and 34% of us admit to texting or sending email while we're driving. So, how can 64% of us believe that we're excellent or very good drivers when we're driving too fast while we're texting? Well, there's psychology at work here. When we do something bad, we tend to explain it away by rationalizing it, like, well, I was late for work, so I had to speed up. Or we blame some circumstance, like, that guy kept swerving in my lane, so I had to speed up to get away from him. It's the he started it excuse. When other people do something bad, it's a character flaw. That person is a bad driver or just an idiot. Well, I use a different word, but this is a family show, so we'll pretend that I say idiot. The universal truth in this research is that our perceptions and reality are very different. We have trouble honestly evaluating our own behavior and how it might be hurting us. Results of the driving study can be generalized to other areas of our lives. Let's talk about cell phones. Raise your hand if you think that some people use their cell phones at inappropriate times. I'm with you on that, yes. The next logical question would be, do you use your phone at inappropriate times? But I'm not going to ask that. Instead, we're going to do some research of our own today. For the rest of this talk, keep an eye on the people sitting around you and count how many times they check their phone during this talk. We're all going to be paranoid together. And I'm not here to knock cell phones. Cell phones have become a necessary part of life for most Americans, right? We can't put them down, not even when we're out to dinner with our friends. Cell phones have become an essential technology in a very short period of time. The first cell phone call was made by Martin Cooper, a Motorola employee, in 1973. He called Bell Labs one of Motorola's competitors. And I don't know what he said during that phone call, but it was probably something like, "Did you just call me? I saw I had a missed call from you." The BlackBerry was introduced in 2002, and that kicked off the smartphone era. When Steve Jobs held up the first iPhone at the Macworld conference in 2007, he showed off its appealing touchscreen interface, and a revolution was born. Smartphones give us access to the whole world in one small device. We can manage email, catch the hottest TV shows, connect with family and friends, keep up our calendars, play games, and yes, even watch cat videos on our phones. Today, 95% of Americans own a cell phone, and 77% have a smartphone. That's up from just 35% in 2011. It took about 50 years for landline phones to reach 50% of American households. Smartphones were in the hands of 50% of Americans over age 13 in less than 10 years. Why were we so quick to buy a $500 phone? It might be that we're accustomed to using technology, so we're more willing to try these new tools and gadgets. It might be that our busy lifestyles predispose us to the convenience of smartphones. Or it might be that smartphones have been designed to lure us in with their shiny screens and their millions of apps. We get excited about games of Candy Crush, and we anticipate the next Snapchat video. Then we're hooked. We're mainlining Angry Birds, and we just can't get enough. All we can think about is our next fix of Netflix. Cell phones are designed to be addictive, and 77% of the population needs rehab. We are so dependent on our cell phones that some hardcore users will get their fix anywhere they can. College students spend about 9 hours a day using their cell phone. That's longer than they spend sleeping or studying. Most of us find this constant attention to cell phones irritating. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah. Well, I'm giving a TED Talk right now. Yeah, well, can I call you back? Okay, yeah, I'll call you back. Right? It's irritating. The stranger who has the phone on speaker, so we hear their whole conversation. Or the person who checks their phone during the movie. And the person who is texting while driving and they have no idea what they're doing. We all have pet peeves for the bad behavior that we see in others. But most of us are guilty of the same bad behavior. We can't help ourselves. We are slaves to our impulses, and tech designers are counting on that. So, how are smartphones controlling us? Developers are employing some serious psychology to entice us to spend more time on device, which is the same term that's used to describe gambling addicts and casino games. One way tech developers manipulate us is by using intermittent variable rewards. Apps are designed to link our actions to rewards or prizes like bonus points in a game. New text messages being tagged in a post on Facebook, and even new emails from work stimulate us because we feel like we're getting a reward. The catch is that the reward isn't always there. It's only intermittently given. Every time we check our phone, we're hoping to get the reward, something like a notification that someone new is following us on Twitter. When rewards are given on an unpredictable schedule, our rate of addiction is higher. So, just like gambling addicts keep rolling the dice, we keep checking our phones, hoping for the big score. Tech designers also exploit our need for social approval. When you receive a notification that a friend has tagged you in a photo on Facebook, you feel validated, like a member of the in crowd, like you belong. I hate to break it to you, but your friend didn't suddenly think of your self-esteem and tag you in the photo. Your friend responded to a prompt from Facebook to tag the people in the photo. In fact, we feel compelled to obey these commands. The tech companies design their programs to maximize the manipulative potential for every action we take. If you post a new photo, the app notifies your friends and prompts them to comment. One person's comment compels someone else to post a message too, right? Because we want to belong, so we participate. The comments are spread across this vast network of users to make it appear that tons of people care about what you're having for dinner. You are notified about every comment, tag, and like, so you are continually pulled back into the app. Snapchat also exploits our need for social approval. The Streaks feature shows the number of days in a row that two people have exchanged photos. And people feel real anxiety over breaking a streak and risking disapproval. The anxiety we feel in these situations is very real. One research team found that when people are separated from their phones, their brains produce a hormone called cortisol, which triggers the fight or flight response. This is the same hormone that's released when we sense danger. So, the hormone that made us hyper alert centuries ago so that we could survive real danger, like attacks from wild animals, today compels us to check our phones. In fact, the only way we can subdue that anxiety is to check our phone. We are being conditioned to constantly look at our smartphones. Many of us use our phone as an alarm clock, so our phone is the first thing we see every day. After that initial compulsion to check for emails and messages that came in overnight, we check our phone obsessively 150 times a day. But we are not making 150 conscious choices. Brain scans prove that free choice when it comes to cell phone use is just an illusion. When we play a game on our phone, our brains look the same as a person's brain when they're abusing drugs, or the brain of a gambling addict putting coins in a slot machine. Before smartphones, the average person had an attention span of 12 seconds. A recent study found that our attention span is about 8 seconds. Goldfish can pay attention for 9 seconds, which means I wish you guys were goldfish. Every time we use an app, we're submitting to this manipulation. Apps track how long we're logged in, what we click on, how long we spent on each screen, and every other action we take. All that data is transferred back to the company where it's used to redesign the apps to capitalize on our individual behavior patterns. The purpose of increasingly personalizing our experience is to deliver the advertising that we are most susceptible to. Apps do a better job of generating income from advertising than any other medium, including television. It's time that we faced it. The computer geniuses in Silicon Valley are using our weaknesses against us. Research has found that 90% of Americans are overusing, misusing, or abusing their phone. 10 to 12% are addicted to their phones. 50% of teenagers feel like they are addicted to their phones. Teenage girls send about 3,000 text messages every month. That's 100 a day. Have you heard of phantom cell phone vibrations? This is a real thing. People feel a vibration like they've gotten a text message or a phone call, but it's just in their head, and the phone did not vibrate. A slight muscle twitch or the feeling of your clothes against your skin is interpreted as a phone vibration. This is even on WebMD.com, and you know it's a problem when it's showing up on WebMD.com. As an educator, cell phone addiction is a concern for me. And I'm sharing this information with you because I think you should take notice and take the power back from the tech companies that are trying to manipulate you. Let's go back to our research project. Raise your hand if the person next to you looked at their phone during this talk. Not very many. That's because you knew there was external monitoring, and so you were more aware of your behavior and therefore more in control of it. I hope that this talk has made you more aware of the psychology of cell phone design and that you reconsider how you use your phone. Our attachment to devices becomes a serious problem when it keeps us from engaging with others in the here and the now. It's a problem when we are so attached to our cell phones that we can't stop ourselves from checking it, and when we feel anxiety when we're separated from it. That's obsession, and it's not healthy. Cell phones can show us the world, but only in words and pictures. If you're driven to distraction 150 times a day, the world is passing you by. Look up from that tiny screen and experience the beautiful world that's all around you. Thank you.